Hi, I'm Minnie Driver, and I am here to talk to Elle about what I've learned about love. To me, modern love means a more open communication about love. That love doesn't just exist in books, it exists on many, many different platforms, and we can interrogate it in a much broader way. When I am in love, I am I'm really happy. I'm really happy. And it's very different being in love today than it was being in love in my 20s. When I'm in love now, I'm calmer and more appreciative of the gift that it is. When I was in love, when I was much younger, I think I really took it for granted. And I have a big problem in the whole way that we're encouraged to metabolize love, particularly as women. I think it's grotesque because we're not really given very many options. I thought that all that had to happen, or what was supposed to happen, was you would meet someone who would love you in kind. It would be a man, and you would get married and have kids, and that's what it was. As opposed to go and explore yourself and become incredibly self-aware about who you are as a person, your ugly bits, your beautiful bits, all of you, and then be really clear about what kind of a person you want to be with, as opposed to just whomever is showing you love in that particular moment, and then make a choice. The biggest lesson I've learned about relationships is no one is going to give you 100% of everything that you need. And it's a total fallacy to believe that there is one person who is going to encapsulate all of that stuff. We should really be aiming for, I think, about 65%, and the rest should be filled in by your friends, wine, going on holiday by yourself, the things that you do that you love. Having your love life in the public eye is an occupational hazard. It's so dreary because it's often not true, but also sometimes it's funny and hilarious how not true it can be. It's a little bit tricky because relationships are fragile anyway, and a big public microscope or people talking about it's weird. You sort of get used to it, and then you learn to keep stuff private. Shut up talking about it as much as you possibly can. That's one thing. I used to think that I could explain my way through it, and it just never, ever worked. The hardest love I had to get over was a terrible heartbreak that taught me an enormous amount, but I didn't think I was going to recover from it. But of course you do. Maybe if you're lucky, you have one of those, because things that break you open leave space for other good things. Motherhood has taught me about unconditional love. Loving my kid, or the love that I feel for him, there's nothing attached to it. There are no requirements, there's no benchmark. He doesn't have to do anything. It's really extraordinary. A lot of the time you gotta make it up. And if you're lucky, sometimes you just connect with somebody and you chat in between takes. Most of the time it's made up. That's what acting is. That's literally why they pay me. I don't know, I've been on the receiving end of actors who really want to hang out and talk about the part and be involved the whole thing, and I'm like, oh, look, love, it's late and I'm in the middle of a really good book, and I'm like, I get it, we're mates, I like you, it's going to be great, the scene is going to be incredible. But then there are times when I just am mad about someone like Tom Burke, I love him. I think he is one of the greatest actors of his generation. And we just sit in the car and chat. And I was the one going, oh no, don't go back to your trailer, just stay. Actors are notoriously hard to be friends with because they're always off doing something else. And it's so disparate. But yeah, there are friends, Colin Firth and Mary McCormack and Alan Cumming have stayed really wonderful people in my life. The first time I experienced grief was someone I loved died when I was about 21, who I was in a relationship with. I was young, but I covered it. I didn't really go through it. I experienced the tip of grief and then buried it. And in some ways, when I experienced grief later in my life, I had to go back and deal with that early grief. It is an extension of love. It's just another expression of love. And that being frightened of it is really just being frightened of the pain that you feel, but that it's counterintuitive because feeling it and allowing it is what helps it pass. It's what helps it evolve into memories of love. I have a box of things that belong to my mother that I treasure, and I take them with me into the rest of my life. I learned to love myself by really making an effort to accept the parts of myself that I thought were, in quotes, bad, to really understand and have compassion for and love holistically who I was. And it's made me a far better lover and mother and daughter, person, friend, actor. Well, my favorite love story is The Sound of Music. I mean, it always has been. I really love it. I like good being triumphant over evil and sex being triumphant over celibacy.